She says, I'm scared. I'll have to give birth to my child alone. I'm scared I won't be able to lay in the arms of my husband anymore. Although my parents support me, I know their opinion of me has been ruined. My mom used to be very proud of me. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, going to do an update to an extremely popular video I did the other day titled, I am pregnant and someone sent my husband an SEX tape and now he told me he wants me to miscarry. And a very big giant shout out to David for sending me this article. I tried to do actually an update to this article before and I knew there was an update but it had been deleted. And I looked everywhere and I couldn't find it. But this guy, David, he found it. So give a shout out to David for finding this so I can finish the story. And guys, as a recap to the story that happened in case you missed it, this is about a woman who's been married to a guy for a few years. And before they got married, she told him that she was a virgin. Never had any type of relationships or experience with guys whatsoever before they got together. And he thought, okay, I got myself a great one. However, as it turns out, that wasn't the case. She had quite a lively college years, to put it mildly. So much so that one day somebody had sent her husband a video of her tasting a very large sausage. And as you can probably imagine, he didn't take it very well. And that was it. He wants to divorce her. He said a lot of horrible things to her, wanted her to miscarry and all that. And then she's obviously singing the blues about the whole thing. And in the video, she talked about her college years. She came from a very traditional Indian family. And even though they're in the United States, they seem to adhere to the culture that was from, I guess, their home country. And her parents, they thought that she was as pure as snow. But obviously not. And she talked about how a lot of times in college she hung out with the wrong crowd and felt pressure to do certain acts, which I tore apart in the other video, and I said that, okay, that's awful, nobody should pressure anybody to anything, but she kept hanging out with those people. It made no sense. So she did a lot of things and then lied. She lied to the guy she met, told this BS story, and now doesn't want to be with her anymore. So this is going to pick up where things left off, where pretty much her life is in ruins and all that. And by the way, guys, if you can hear my voice is a little off today, I got this terrible sore throat, so just bear with me because the show must go on. So that continues. Things got a lot worse since I last posted. Initially, things were looking good. Me and my husband were finally talking. However, then his sisters came and they started interrogating me. They would talk about me loud enough to a point where I could hear them call me a WHORE. I want to know what the hell she said to her husband where she thought that things are finally okay or looking better. I mean, because this guy was having a meltdown when he found out that this wife, who he thought was as pure as Snow White, had a background that make a lot of you guys absolutely cringe. So I can't imagine the sweet talking that she was doing. But now his family's arrived. I realized that my marriage was over. Right now, my husband's family is staying in our house. I know that they have filed for divorce. They said they won't be paying any child support until I take a paternity test. Before all this, my mother-in-law bought our child tons of jewelry and clothes. Now they completely ignore me. From what I heard, they are already looking for a new wife for my husband. Already looking for a new wife? Now again, these are very traditional Indian families. I don't know a whole lot about the culture, so anybody from India can fill me in on this type of thing. But it sounds to me like her husband, he may be a good guy, but pretty much he sounds very weak to me and completely controlled by his family. And already they're filing the divorce, not him, she says, and they're already looking for a new wife for him and pretty much calling the shots, okay? And although this is unfortunate what happened to him, no guy should have his family calling the shots. And in my opinion, I don't care what your culture is. But that's just me. After their family filed for divorce, I told my family the news. My parents were upset with me. My dad supported me quickly. However, my mom still didn't understand what everything was. She thought the marriage could be fixed. I'm now looking for a place to stay. Their family doesn't want my husband to see his child again and just start a new life. Well, if that child is his biological child, it is his child, okay? And he is going to be responsible for it regardless of what she did and all her lying. Because again, yes, her actions in the past were in many ways despicable, and the fact that she lied to him outright and said that she was a virgin and all that, and he got the bait and switch, that's terrible. But still, this child is, if it's his child, they do a paternity test, it's his. So he's going to have to be responsible for it. I never felt so low in my life. Every night I think of all the things I could have done differently so I didn't play out like this. Well, nobody seems like nowadays thinks about their actions. You know, people just throw caution to the wind and do all these things, and then later on when the past comes back to haunt them, and it always does, there's the blame game, there's the woe is me game, and all that. Now, believe me, if there wasn't a child involved, there'd be zero pity on my part. You know, I just feel bad for the kid, whoever's kid it is, you know. But from her, she made her bed and she lied in it. For those that are curious, I did hire a web service to try to remove the video, but now the damage has been done. My career is completely intact, but my friends and family have all heard or seen about the video. These are times I wish I could just die right now. Again, I'm curious, was she aware that that video was being filmed back in college when she had the big one in her mouth? I don't know. She says, I'm scared. I'll have to give birth to my child alone. I'm scared I won't be able to lay in the arms of my husband anymore. Although my parents support me, I know their opinion of me has been ruined. My mom used to be very proud of me. I know I made mistakes. I'm not looking for people to tell me that. I would like advice how to move forward. Well, I don't care what the situation is. She's never going to lie in that bed with that husband again. Okay? She's lied in too many beds. It's not going to happen. The best thing she can do now is move on, get a paternity test, and if that child isn't his, which you can't blame him for wondering, then that's her freaking problem. End of story. But if it is his child in the United States, he's going to be responsible if that family likes her or not. But she did what she did, so the best thing now, because I care about that kid, not her, is if the child is, regardless, move on, and don't let that kid around that family because they're going to be awful to that kid, even though it's not the kid's fault, and start over and learn your lesson that you don't lie about your past. If you're with someone you supposedly love, you tell them the truth, you come clean, because these things always come out. Now, here are some comments, because the comments are always fun from people around the world. One guy says, I would like advice. She says, I would like advice how to move forward. He says, number one, finalize the divorce. Your marriage is over. Yes, it's over. There's no going back. You fucked it up. End of story. But you know what? That family's hating on you anyway, so be miserable anyway, just to move on. Number two, work out custody issues with your child and husband. If the husband does not want to parent the child, and he can't be forced to. If it is his biological child, he can be forced to pay child support. That's reasonable. Someone's got to help take care of that kid. And again, I care about the kid, not her. Number three, in future relationships, don't pretend to be a conservative virgin when in reality, that couldn't be further from the truth. Don't pretend to be anything you are not. Absolutely. And she brought this mess on herself. And in the other video, she was upset that if she would have told him the truth, and then she thinks he wouldn't give her the time of day. Well, that's on you. He deserved the truth. Number four, in future relationships, don't marry a man who's looking for a conservative virgin, because she most certainly is not conservative or a virgin. Another comment says, well, just try to take things one day at a time. Sorry, that's one hell of a cluster, F-U-C-K. Try to learn from your mistakes and just keep your chin up. It won't be easy, but you'll make it. Sorry, friend. Yeah, well, keeping her chin up is what got her into this trouble to begin with. Another one. It says, OP, original poster, as a woman who comes from a similar kind of ethnic background and upbringing, conservative parents, but not as strict, I think you made a huge mistake here. This is my honest opinion, and it's going to sound harsh. You knew going into this marriage you were keeping a secret that would ruin your marriage. Not potentially, you really did know that your husband would never be able to accept it. Exactly. You grew up in a culture, you grew up in that culture. You knew he would never have married you if he knew how sexually experienced you were. It's not fair, but that's how your culture works, and you knew it. Yet you chose to keep it quiet because otherwise you could not have him. See? She was selfish. That's exactly what happened. She didn't want to tell him the truth because she wanted to get a man to marry, because I think she was approaching 30, and women all are fearful of the 30. Sorry, I know this is not what you wanted to hear, but you try to manipulate the relationship into your favor. The truth just comes out, and now you have to deal with the consequences. Amen. That's exactly it. Now she has to deal with the consequences. And again, like I said before, you move on. If that child is, whether it's his or not, if it's his child, he's going to be responsible for child support. That's fair. But if it's not, then okay, you got to move on. And you can obviously doing well for yourself in your career, and you got a family, they'll forgive you, and you'll learn from this harsh lesson. And hopefully this story will help a lot of people that are young learn from this, that you can't go around caution the wind with your bodies when you're younger, and for these women and be shocked that guys aren't going to want to marry them if that's the case. Okay, it's one thing if she had relations with guys she had relationships with throughout her young life. That's different. It's someone that you're in love with and all that. But what she was doing, no guy wants that as a wife. Not a chance in hell. End of story. So a lot of lessons in this story, but again, the truth always comes out. All right, guys, that was a quick update. And again, shout out to the guy, David, who sent this. Be sure to comment down below, let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.